Go ahead, tell them, talk to them.
How's everyone doing? Missed you from last week.
It's quite a cooler day, though.
It is.
I tell you what, you can't wait to see what we got for you, folks. It's going to be freaking awesome. See what we got for you, folks. It's going to be freaking awesome. How about turn the volume off? That'd be a nice move. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm Scott.
I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate. All right, folks, we have a great show for you. All kinds of things revamped, a little bit of changes here and there, but it's going to be a great show. All right,
We keep adding to it, don't
yeah, it's a little better every time. So pretty soon we're going to do it from the moon. We're going to jump on a rocket, end up on the moon. That's what we're going to do next. All right, so Don, a couple things before we start, okay? We would love to have some share warriors out there. Instead of asking you where you're from, we'd love for you to share this feed. Okay, we give lots of good information, as all of you know, and that's the whole point of this thing. So we'd love you to share it to other folks because we get lots of questions from people. I had a guy call me today asking me questions from the show from myself today. So just, folks, take 1 second right now and just share this thing if you would, please, as you're watching. That'd be a great thing.
And if you find value in it, I'm sure your friends and family would find value in it as well. So
yeah, I would agree with that, absolutely.
We want to share our experiences and our knowledge with everybody.
Yeah. So, and the other thing I want to talk about before we start is the question for the show is what, Don?
Would you buy a historic home?
Okay. So,
and if so, why?
Yeah, and in the comments, do this for us. Yes, I would. Tell us why. No, I wouldn't. Tell us why. Would you buy a historic home? At some point in the show, it's going to become more relevant, but the question for the show is, would you buy a historic home? Okay. Now,
so we got other to go over what we're going to do tonight.
Yeah, a little island preview. Go ahead.
Next, we're going to go up to our marketing update and our first topic, and then the city spotlight.
City spotlight is going to be Warren, Michigan, third biggest city I think in Michigan. I think it's third biggest.
Yeah.
I'm
big
pretty
city.
sure. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Big General Motors.
Macomb County, baby.
We have an interview with Hannah Korte.
Yep.
About photography and
real estate photographer. Yeah,
I'm excited about that. That's for sure.
Yep.
And we have topic number 2 is renting versus buying.
Yeah,
benefits of it both.
Big deal, especially with the age group demographics. Definitely.
Absolutely. And then of course we always have our stories from the road.
Stories from the road. I don't know if I'm going to share my story from the road this week, Don. We talked about it, you and I, a little bit, and it definitely it's an interesting story, but we got to be careful.
Yeah. All right. So we got a big show for you tonight, and first of all, we'd like to introduce our marketing update queen, Cristina
from our office is our marketing update queen.
Hi, everybody.
She's giving us the marketing, the updates with what happened in the last week, since last week.
So I got to say this, Don. So every day, if I come in a bad mood because real estate's a crazy business and you get pissed off sometimes, you see Cristina smile, and she's just the nicest person that I've ever met.
She's got the sweetest, voice. Always, hi, Don.
Like if you want to see somebody talk to shitty people and say nice things, like people call her and just start screaming and yelling, and just she goes, "Hi, how are you?" and everything's okay, and just it's good stuff.
They turn into butter.
Good stuff.
They turn into butter after they talk to Cristina.
So. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad to be a part of the show with you guys, and here's the market update.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Cristina.
Good night.
Thann you.
If you could let those bozos in downstairs, that'd be great. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cristina. Okay, so Century 21, Colonel Oberski, this is what our company has done in this month and versus last year. Last year, active listings on the market, currently on the market, last year were 191.
191, okay. So
this month, June of 2020, we have 212 homes on the market. And with what we've gone through, what's going on with COVID,
so would you say a little bit more inventory?
A little bit more inventory, yeah. It's pretty amazing. I thought those numbers would be a little bit reversed.
So I would tell you this, Don. If there's a little bit more inventory, that will probably help out the buyer on the buyer side a little bit. Yep.
Might take a little bit of
the pressure
off them and the stress of multiple offers and that sort of stuff. But we don't see that yet, so hopefully that happens soon.
Very cool.
And pending, meaning under contract, last year there were 313 last year. Currently this year, 436. So you can see that the buyers are out there and they're buying.
Right, that's the biggest thing. Like pending, folks, and we talked about this before, and we'll talk about during the City Spotlight too. That's the pulse. That's the pulse of the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody getting something under contract. Yeah. That's definitely it's showing that people are buying.
Yeah.
So and again, I know we keep beating this drum, but I'm going to do it for as long as I have to. That the business side, as far as business goes, real estate business is good. Yeah. I know that folks are worried about reopening and all that kind of stuff. Real estate business is good. I mean, people are buying and people are spending. Yeah. So that's a great sign for the economy. It's an absolutely great sign.
Absolutely. People are out there, and hopefully this is really looking good for the economy and for all of us. Yeah,
and so I talked to our ace on the mortgage side, Mike McLaughlin, today, and he mentioned to me that the credit score of FHA is still 640. It came down from 660, right? Mm-hmm. He said that some of they call them overlays, like I said, but they're basically like extra requirements and curveballs that mortgage people put in. They are relaxing those still, right? So they're kind of loosening that stuff up, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Nate Burns. He's asking me if I cut my hair myself. Does it look like it?
Sweet Don Lorenz.
Heck no.
See, listen, you got a haircut.
Thanks for noticing.
I didn't get a haircut. I'm just trying to keep my hair. I'm just throwing the Rogaine in there every day. You know what I mean?
Is it working?
It is working. It definitely is working. I think it's 100% working.
Holy moly,
yep. So,
okay. So what's up next is, so we got the marketing update that gives an idea of that the market's still going pretty good.
Yeah.
So topic number one, going to what we were going to talk about at the very beginning, the question of what would you buy a historic home?
So let's ask that question one more time. So would you buy a historic home? I see some of the answers. I would buy a historic home with the original trim and wood finishes, but updated plumbing, electrical. That's from Cathy Wilkowitz.
But that's a very good point, Cathy.
Let's see what else we got. Depends on the structure. James McNamara. Let's see what else we got. As long as it was in Dogbone Heights, somebody put good old Dogbone Heights. So would you buy a historic home? Julie Long, would you buy a historic home since you're watching today? And your son's late to the show, and I have people downstairs waiting for him at the door to watch. So my nephew Ben and my son are watching today. My son's in from out of town, Don, and he wanted to come watch Dad do the show. So.
And he's late.
Yeah, they're running.
So he's gonna be here for a while. So maybe next week he can be here on time.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to have a gallery. Well, I can envision this someday being alive, having guests at our show.
Well, we're not selling tickets though.
Yeah.
Complimentary.
They're free. Yeah, it's free.
Complimentary.
It's free.
Complimentary.
I know people would pay for it, but
absolutely. As you can see, the light is flickering on and off, so maybe we didn't pay the electrical bill this month. I don't know. We'll have to make sure. You might see me disappear for a minute to do some technical difficulty work. Yeah. We'll have to see about that.
We're gonna have to talk to the manager about the bill. Maybe there's something going on. All right, so anyway, let's talk about historic homes. I was really excited about this topic, and when I started doing a little more research and taking into my experience with this, there's a couple things that I found out that I can't wait to share.
Okay. So what do you got?
So first of all, of course, we all know why people primarily like historic homes or older homes, 100 years and older, is because of the character and charm.
So, I mean, would you say historic has to be designated that or just 100 years old?
Historic has to be designated historic district, but older homes, there's another classification of older homes which takes it to a little less of a level because when you're in a historic district, you have to abide by the historic society in that area or in that city under their I guess what they want. They want to keep the glass doorknobs. There's a lot of nice things that we all see when we walk into those homes. And
so just so you know, Chris Bergeron says if the rooms were large and had a great front porch, that's the only way.
See, that's experience right there.
That's right.
We all know those houses.
She's got experience. Yeah. That lady, she was born on 30th Street down there. So yeah. Sure. Right. Chris Bergeron, my mother and assistant. Yeah. So she has lots of experience.
So next up is it's packed with history. Yep. You have families that have lived in these houses, and when I go through older homes and historic homes, you kind of wonder who lived in this house because it's a lot of history there.
Yeah, definitely do. So think about a couple of things with this. Is at historically relevant people. One,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like Indian Village is going to have a ton of those.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And then two, just that family's history and then how times change, mm-hmm. right? Like. A lot of homes might have dirt roads at some point. I mean, there's just so much to it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And with that history that's there, you purchasing one continues that history, and your history becomes a part of that.
Yeah.
Especially if you do some work on it. One of the downsides is old technology and materials, old plumbing, old electric. The plumbing could be cast iron, which will rust out in time, galvanized plumbing, water lines, which eventually corrode.
Yes, I mean I mean even some of the folks watching, like Cathy Wilkowitz and that, mentioned that it's a hard thing because you love the beauty of it, but you don't want the beauty of it to make you got no cold, no running water.
Right. So I mean, there's some updates you have to do to these homes, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
For example, the roofing and the windows usually are old in these houses, and they can be expensive to replace.
Yep.
So number 4 is, this is something that I found very interesting, and I guess I've never owned a historic home or an extremely old home, is homeowners insurance. It's more expensive because you have older things in there, older electricity, older plumbing.
Oh yeah, you got a fire hazard, right? I mean,
More
I shouldn't say it that way, but more possibility for that.
Yeah, I mean, more wood,
Yeah.
older wood.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Cement the foundation, crumbling, where it could be a structural, cause a structural issue. So there's some things in there that make it a little bit more risky for insurance.
Sure. Yep.
But there's ways around that.
Yeah.
So you just pay a little bit more, but you're getting all that charm and detail and all that character. One thing I did that I've seen in the past, and this is pretty typical in older homes and historic homes, is there's typically two updates that are very expensive, and typically you want them updated at some point pretty soon, as soon as you move in there, hopefully. Windows and roof.
Yep.
And windows in those old houses, they're single pane windows, usually drafty, maybe leaded glass, which gives it a lot of character, but it also gives a lot of room for air to flow through the house.
Yeah, I mean, so insulation, like we definitely 100 years ago weren't as energy efficient, right? So, but I guess now here's my other piece of that is we're talking roof. So would you have to update the roof with the similar components like they used to have?
I think you have to find out through the historic society that in that immediate area, because they may require certain things like either cedar roof or a slate roof. And it's hard to find contractors that know what they're doing.
You have to have somebody specific, yeah.
So I think if you look, in the historic areas that I've seen, they've opened up to asphalt shingles, dimensional shingles that kind of copy slate or cedar.
Yeah. So
there's a way around. It's more cost effective.
I apologize for cutting you off for a second. I want to give a quick shout out to Cathy Korte. Definitely on to watch her daughter today. So we're glad you're watching at home. She's right here safe in the office with us, so she'll be on soon enough. We promise you, Mom.
And she's excited.
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the good things is you can remodel an old historic home to modern day standards, but of course you have to make sure it's okay with the historical society in that area.
Yeah.
So, and you want to get, and if you do that, you want to get an experienced architect, experienced builder that knows how to work with older homes like that. So, before purchasing, one of the good things to do would be to contact a historical society in that subdivision or that area, and also with the city.
So would you hit the association first?
I think I would talk to them and try to glean some information from them and see what they recommend, and because there's those people in that immediate area are going to have that experiences on how to get around things or what they're looking for, so that you can start making your plans on what to do. You have to really think that stuff through.
Well, yeah. So, Don, my favorite historical neighborhood is. Do you know what it is? You might know because I'm talking about a lot.
Palmer Woods.
No.
Indian Village.
No, it's Brush Park.
No, you never mentioned
Brush Park.
You never mentioned it one time.
All right. Well, Brush Park. I used to take pictures down there about 12, 14, 15 years ago. Yeah, before it became a thing to renovate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it amazed me that they're very close to like the stadiums and that.
Yeah.
Right. And they were the original mansions of Detroit.
Yeah.
And just huge
That's
buildings.
Interesting. Yeah, cool.
Absolutely huge buildings. Yeah.
Okay, here's another thing that people don't think about, but that really is very important is when you buy an old historic home is appliances. Appliances these days are bigger.
Yeah.
And furniture's bigger. The
I wonder
rooms
why
aren't
it's
as
bigger.
big.
I wonder why it's bigger.
So you have to think about the doorways may not be as large. So you have to really some of that stuff that might might put a little kink in what you're doing, or you may have to give up some furniture or something.
Well, so like think about this for a minute. The Ford homes, I showed my sister Ford homes when they were looking to move, and they're just like they're cookie cutter. People must have been smaller.
Yeah.
In all ways, shapes, or forms, because like it's very boxy. You know what I mean? But you look at it and go, it's kind of you look and go, because maybe people were just smaller, they're shorter in stature than that, So,
but I think times change, and a lot of people prefer open concept type of stuff, but there is a group of people that do like those type of rooms where things are segmented, I guess, and there's some distinction between rooms.
So let's put it this way, okay? I think you're through with your points, yeah.
Yeah.
So think of it like this: you're the benefactor, appreciator of beautiful, gorgeous home, okay? But at the same time, you have a responsibility, so you got to weigh those two out. So it's like beautiful, very ornate and all that, in that, but you're also like the steward for that home.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it is. I mean, that's basically how it goes.
I agree with that.
So, folks, how many of you would like to be the steward of a historical home? If you would like to own a historical home, throw something out to us there. Give us a yes or a no. You would buy a historic home if you had the opportunity. Garlanda Johnson, we miss you, girl. It was great having you on last week. We see you. So let's talk City Spotlight, Don. Before we do, though, I'm going to take a quick check of the old lights because it feels like the lights are flickering. So I'm going to call DTE and get the energy bill paid real quick. All right. So, tell me about Warren, Michigan.
He didn't get electrocuted. So
that's right.
Been all right.
My hair is not standing up, so I'm okay.
All right. So Warren, Michigan. They do have quite a few condos there, but obviously more single-family homes. Currently on the market, there are 161 homes and 29 condominiums.
Okay, so how many homes? How many properties total? About 90?
190.
190, okay.
191.
Okay.
190.
So that's a lot. It's a pretty big area,
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a big city, too.
Now,
I think it's 36 square miles, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a big place. Yeah, it's definitely a big city.
So currently accepted offers, pending homes where sellers have accepted a contract on them, 324 single-family homes, and 44 condominiums.
So you're talking almost double.
Yeah.
Almost double.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
The market is cranking.
Yeah.
The pendings are almost double the listings that are out there. The market's cranking pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what about sold?
And sold in the last 30 days, 92 homes sold, changed hands, and 12 condos.
So the lowest numbers is sold, yeah? Lowest numbers is sold homes?
Yes.
Okay, so meaning, folks, we're still kind of shaking off the corona and nobody wants to leave their house there. We're still kind of shaking that off.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, in the next 30 to 60 days, there's going to be a lot of homes closing in the city.
So what do you got for square footage and price?
Average sales price, $106,000.
Really?
And square footage, $1,109.
$1,109, okay, yeah. Okay. So Warren, Michigan, we salute you. I'm trying to think of the schools that I know out there. The Warren Woods Tower Titans.
Is there a Warren
They used to be our arch rival for Annapolis when I coached wrestling at Annapolis.
Yeah.
And then Warren Woods Titans. Greg Mayer, great guy.
Yeah.
So the city of Warren. So we got that.
All right. So let's go back to that question again. What would you buy a historic home?
Yeah.
And why?
Would you buy a historic home? Give us the why now, because we see lots of yeses, and that's great. But we definitely want the why. So we want the why. Why would you buy a historic home? Why would you do that?
Okay. And one final statement. If you really enjoy this show and you get any value out of it, please share it.
Yeah, so do that for us too, folks. Again, we just try to give, good quality. And a lot of people have stopped me or called me or sent me, Facebook messages that you guys have such good information. We do. We've been doing this a while, the two of us, okay? And we give it freely, but we want to offer it to as many people as possible. So please take a second and share it to somebody else so that somebody else can enjoy it as well. All right, so take the time now to do that if you would, please.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to our interview. Who is our interview?
Our Hannah Korte.
Hannah Korte, where are you?
Am I rolling in?
Yes,
Come
you
on,
are.
roll on in, Hannah.
Roll on in here with us,
A
kid.
little too short for us.
So if you didn't catch that, folks, she said her legs are a little too short. Don, go that way if you would, please. All right, come on, slide all the way in here, kid. You're fine. All right, so Hannah is the principal at Hannah Korte Photography.
Hello.
Okay, so she definitely knows her way around a camera. She is the personal photographer for the Bergeron team. She's taken pictures for you before too, Don.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
so Hannah, tell us a little bit about your photography business.
Okay, so yeah, I've been doing this for how long have I been out of high school? 8 years now. So I've been doing this 7, 8 years solely as my only source of like income. About 3. Went to college for it, and I do like the senior pictures, the weddings, family photos, all of that stuff. But I also do a lot of assisting for a lot of commercial photographers in the area. So, for instance, we were talking beforehand. I help a photographer that does a lot of interior design, like photographing for interior designers, which informs my
it gives you a way better eye.
So I kind of know what the elaborate portion of like photographing houses is, but then I can dial it back for a real estate setting.
Huh. Very interesting. Okay, so
well, let's start with easy questions. Let's start with so you're a photographer, real estate photographer. Walk us through what your day looks like as a real estate photographer. What do you do?
Well, definitely have a lot of like planning out very specific gear that goes with me. A lot of like wide angle lenses and things like that, just so I can make sure I can get like the whole room in. I've got like a light and things to add a little extra like pop to some rooms that are darker, especially basements, because they are.
Get no light in there. Yeah.
Right.
Get no light in there.
So yeah, and it usually takes me about like an hour or so to go through the house, and I try to get as many angles as possible, so that way you guys have a lot to choose from when you see them, and that way, like if I say like maybe I like this angle better, but you guys know that this angle will like sell or something like that. That way everything is there. You guys have it, and yeah, I spent about an hour there moving around the house, trying to get everything and making it look good as possible.
So then you leave the house. Then what?
Then I would go back home, upload all my pictures that I just took to my computer, go through, and pick out all the best ones. And I do a little bit of retouching on them, not a whole lot, because I obviously want to like have it be what it is. So there's not really any surprises when you go into the house. Just some color correcting, adjusting like that, make sure all the lines are straight. And I believe there's like if there's say really bright outside, but the room is very dark, it's a couple shots that I'll have to photograph or Photoshop together, just so you make sure you see you can see the view out of the window and the room at the same time.
So Hannah, if you saw this camera right here and you saw that I could barely get in it, Don moved to his left a little bit, and I could get in a little more, would that help?
There you go.
All right, there we go. Wait, that's a professional opinion we use there. So what else? What other questions you got for it, Don?
Okay, so when you're going back to an hour, is that outside and inside?
Yes, I think the most time I've ever really spent in one of the houses is like an hour and a half, and it's usually dependent on the size. And the more I do it, the faster I get at it. So, but I've never spent less than an hour, and I've never spent more than an hour and a half.
Okay.
So it's about an hour and a half. It's pretty done.
Okay. So are there certain pictures when you go through? Are there certain pictures, or even when you drive up to the house, are there certain pictures that you plan on taking that might really show that house in the best light, or that you think might really be something that a buyer may look and say, hey, this is this is a house I want to see because of this picture, this 2 pictures here.
Right. So normally when I do pull up to the house, I always think like, oh, that's exactly what you're going to be doing the first time you see it. So I feel like the most like important picture to take is definitely the outside, because that's going to be your first impression, and first impressions are important. Yeah. So I know like when some of my friends were looking at houses, they were always like, oh, well, if there's bad pictures, I don't even want to look at the listing. So that way it's like, oh, what is going to catch your eye right off the bat? And obviously the first picture you see is outside. So for me, that's like what I try and concentrate on the most, to make sure you get that like best like angle of curb appeal. So when you're looking at the listings, you're like, oh, that one's just like, it's cute or whatever, but it entices you to look further.
Right. Okay.
And as far as other like important pictures or things like that, I think like obviously the living space is very important, because for me, I want to entertain my friends or have family over. So I'm like, is
the
this
size
a good,
of you mean? Like
So is this a good space for me to do that? So I kind of think when I go into it, if I was looking at a listing, what would I want to see? And that sort of informs how I photograph the house.
Right. Absolutely. And Don and I both, we were talking about this before the show too, is that we've heard this plenty of times, right? Like the pictures. First of all, the bad side of it is the pictures look nothing like the listing. Yeah. Right? They go, pictures, lied about the listing, or the opposite, that house sells quickly, the pictures look great. Right. And Don and I both, we use professional photography all the time. That's a huge difference, folks, is that a lot of guys, a lot of realtors, ladies and gentlemen, take pictures of their iPhone and stuff like that. You can tell the difference. We have somebody like Hannah who has an eye for it, one, and does it all the time, too. So they can, like, I've seen her at listings before where she contorts about 70 different ways. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm getting a better angle on this. I would be like, shit. If I try to get an angle, I would fall down if I try to get an angle. So, yeah, definitely important that a realtor uses a professional photographer. Definitely important thing. I mentioned, you said, so an hour, hour and a half. What would deviate from the hour? What would get you the hour and a half? Just the size, or?
Yeah, the size definitely, or I think if there's like a lot of unique things about the house that we definitely want to like highlight, then those would get like their own attention. Just things like that. Or if it's maybe a little darker like on the inside, then it would take me a little more time to like figure out the lighting and all of that stuff. So mostly just like little things like that. Or if like, and it's even not really been like a huge like deal of moving stuff, but if there's a lot of stuff still there and the homeowners want to move it out of the room, move it back in, all of that stuff, so it's like a little dance we have to do around each other.
a little dance we have to do around each other.
Sometimes that contributes to the like amount of time spent, but it's always to help it make it look better.
So and you and I talk about lighting quite a bit. As far as when you get the best natural light, when does that happen, do you think?
So, and this is how I actually shoot a lot of my like people as well, is usually very early in the morning or very close to sunset or like golden hours of the day. So that's usually like the best time. But also when there's just like some sort of direction to the sunlight. And because usually like 12 o'clock, everything's straight down, it's super contrasty, it might not be like the best thing, but as long as the sun's like moving like some
contrasty. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's an interesting. I'm telling people, I'm going, we have to do it later because it's contrast. I want to say that to somebody.
And it's a lot of, depending on where the house is facing too.
Yeah. So you can tell it's contrasting here because our light keeps going out the back. So you guys keep going. I'll adjust that light.
Speaking of houses in the direction that it's facing, do you take that into consideration before you go out there?
I try to. Sometimes I just don't know.
Yeah.
So when I go, that'll also, again, depending on where it's facing, and I know I'm going to be spending like an hour there, the sun will be in a different spot when say like for outside. Doesn't matter necessarily for inside, but definitely when I'm photographing the outside of the house. If I don't take into consideration that the sun will be here and then here, if I'm getting to the front of the house, then it might be at an angle that I'll get like tons of lens flare and I can't actually get the angle that I want because the sun is then just blasting my lens and I can't move the sun.
So have you tried?
I've tried.
So let me ask you a question, and this is something we didn't really script, but that is curious. We're talking about lighting. So does it depend the way the house faces and everything too? Like, so how would you? So should we ask the seller, hey, what exposure does your house have, or would that help you?
Mostly just kind of like, does it face east, does it face west? Because then it'll like inform like, so which way the sun is facing towards the house. So it could be like, if it's in the morning, the sun could be beating down in the front of the house, which actually would be like super great because it'll be totally lit up. But then for instance, there's where if it was in the opposite direction and I was there, it could be it would be lighting up the backyard, great, but it could be also at an angle where I can't stand like in like the perfect spot, and it'll be right in just above the house where I can't really get a good, and then it'll just totally just lens flare everywhere, too bright, all of that stuff. But I mean, I can also like crouch down and try, but then again, there's only so far I can crouch down to avoid the sun based on like the height of the house and things like that.
So my buddy Willie McGuire, a good lender that we know, asked, would you be willing to share your company's phone number in case folks want to use you?
Sure, yeah. It's 313-485-3016. I also have my email address is kortehannah@yahoo.com. You can also contact me there. I'm actually probably more apt to answer my email because I can do that while I'm at work and things like that.
Yeah.
So if like I'm on an assisting job, I can really quick send you an email, stuff like that, or hannahkortephotography.com. Lots of ways.
So hannahkortephotography.com is the best way to reach you. Okay.
Korte.
Yes.
So a couple more questions that we got for it, because this is an interesting topic even for us, right? So how much extra special stuff do you do? Like, what do you do for sellers? Do you ever do anything for sellers that extra special?
I wouldn't necessarily say like extra special, but kind of what I mentioned earlier. I like overshoot when I'm in a house. That way there's just a lot of angles and choices to be had. So maybe there's something that I don't know is super important, but you guys know is super important, that I might have missed in one angle, would have gotten another. So stuff like that.
Okay.
Try to overshoot like that, or if there's like little things. So a lot of people will leave the garage door opener out on the sink or whatever, so you could go look in the garage when you're doing a showing, but we don't really want that in the picture, so just kind of like moving things, but then also making sure to put them back where I found them.
Because people will be like, where did my thing go? Where happened? What's going on? So, Don, got any more questions for her? Because I got one more I know of.
Well, you kind of answered one of them, and you say you don't really enhance. I really think this is kind of important. Is you don't really Photoshop or enhance the pictures, which I like that. I think that's a really good thing. You had explained that you want it to be the way it actually is.
Yeah.
So I think that's. I mean, you have anything more to say about that, or is that pretty much sum it up?
I feel like that pretty much sums it up. You just do a little bit of tweaking here and there just to make sure it's like at its best.
So I'm going to ask the fun question.
So.
What's the weirdest thing you ever photographed?
Okay, so I actually thought about this the other day.
Yeah.
It was the first house you ever sent me to go photograph, and no one was in it, but I go up to it was a bungalow, go up to the upstairs, so obviously this is like someone's bedroom probably, but I noticed there's a sink. That's really weird. There's no bathroom.
I know which one it is. It's in Allen Park on Moore Street. I know exactly who that is.
And then I'm looking around and there's like a little closet, and again, so no one's in the house, and like they've clearly moved all their stuff out, so I'm like, well, I'm just gonna start opening stuff because I'm confused now. And then there was a door that maybe half my height. I'm like also like 5'3" for comparison. Half my height, I opened it and there was a toilet in it.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before. I had
I
never
know
seen
exactly
one
what
since.
that is.
Because you couldn't eat, and I was thinking about this while I'm standing there looking at this. Okay, so let's take pictures of it. But I was like, you couldn't even sit up straight.
Yeah.
Because it was so
It was like a bent over. So that's what you call a water closet. A water closet, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Oh my
God. Only time I've ever seen one of those, but that was one I, again, didn't even know that was a thing.
I just talked to that guy last week, too. I just talked to that guy.
Really?
Yeah, he's an older gentleman. He lives in Belleville. Yeah. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him, but I just talked to that guy. I know exactly what house you're talking about.
And that was 4 years ago or so?
That was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a while ago. It was definitely a while ago.
Things that you remember in this business, that's a good one. Any other stories?
I want to say nothing like, there wasn't anything like weird. I know there's been a couple houses I've gone where there's been like clothes on the ground, so I'll have to like kick those under the bed. I'm like, oh. Or was one house I went into and I didn't realize they hadn't gotten the cat yet. And so I was like, weird, there's toys everywhere, but no one's here. And then, of course, going to a room that the cat was in, didn't realize he was there.
Cat goes flying at you.
Comes flying out.
That's awesome.
Starting
Oh boy, yeah, startled me. That explains the toys.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
So one of your biggest fans, Chris Bergeron, she wants to know: do you suggest that people declutter before you take pictures?
Yes, definitely, as much as possible. Like, obviously, if you're still living there, there's not going to be all places that you can declutter, but definitely, and unless there's like a walk-in closet that you guys definitely want pictures of or want to feature, highly encourage throwing things in your closet and shutting the door. At least while I'm there. So yes, definitely trying to declutter as much as possible, because then it makes everything look a lot cleaner and there's a lot less like distractions going on, because then you're not like, oh, what's this random
thing
in the corner of the picture instead of actually looking at the house.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. We're so glad you came.
Very good. Thank you.
I mean, this was informative for us. It was also, people were asking for your business number and that, so I'm sure that the people will reach out to you. Give me your number and information one more time.
Yeah, so it's 313-485-3016 is my phone number. You can also text that number. Email address is kortehanna@yahoo.com, so that's KORTEHANNAH@yahoo.com, and then HannahKortePhotography.com, also on Facebook and Instagram. Under those same names.
And I will tell you this: she took my nephew Ben. She took his. There you go. She took my nephew Ben's senior pictures last year, and they couldn't have been happier. I just saw them today. I was at their house. I'm like, those pictures look great. So she does it all. She does real estate photography, weddings. You said.
Senior pictures, families.
Yeah. So she does it all. So I'm going to tell you a special thing that you did for a client of mine recently that you just mentioned before. So the house sells in Princess Drive. They live in Canton, where their house is pending right now because of the great pictures you took. So I looked in the photos when you sent them, and all of a sudden I see this kid in all the like 3 or 4 pictures. So I guess the young man was very charmed with Hannah, the mom said, and so he followed her around. So he became like the assistant, and he got to be in the pictures.
He was a very good photo assistant. He's very helpful.
Yeah, he was very helpful, very photogenic too, very photogenic too. So that's another way that you do very special things for clients, because I will give them to those folks, and they'll be ecstatic. So that's that. Yeah.
So I have a final question. Have you photographed anybody popular or
It's good,
or anything like that, or somebody that you say, hey man,
like celebrities or anything?
Yeah, celebrities, right.
Sort of. So I do work with Carmen Harlan. I do a lot of her. She has a clothing line, which you should check out while you're watching this.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Tell us what. No, go
It's
ahead.
a Carmen Harlan collection. I do all the photography work for that, which is really great because fashion is something I'm very interested in. So it's kind of like a cool thing. So I work with her a lot.
So is it CarmenHarlanCollection.com or what? So CarmenHarlanCollection.com. You can see Hannah's work. Carmen Harlan, as you know, was a newscaster in Detroit for a long time, and she's a great woman, absolutely great woman.
It's some of my favorite work I've ever done as far as like fashion or people goes. So like I'm really proud of it. So that's really cool. I like that. And then there's been like a couple other like assisting jobs. I've never like photographed them, but I've been on jobs where like, not to name drop, but Big Sean was at one of them.
Oh wow, Big Sean! Wow, no kidding.
We gave a head nod at each other. That was cool.
Well, you got to get a head nod from Big Sean. That's a good day.
That's it.
I get a head nod from Don Lawrence. That's all I get. Or maybe Adam Oberski's doing one of these or something like that. That's all I get. Hannah, it's great to have you on the show. Absolutely. If you hang out with us for a few minutes, we're going to finish up the show here. So Don, let's talk about this new concept that we kind of set out there to folks. Folks, like we talked about before, sharing is the language of love for Facebook.
What?
So, well, I'll put it that way. So, as you share our information and our show with folks, it's the word out as far as who they can trust in real estate. Don and myself, we give information, high quality information all the time. So, what we ask you to do is share, and we're going to do that throughout the rest of the show as well. What we're going to change fan of the show to, because the fan of the show is kind of lame. So I came up with this, and we're going to try it for a while and see how it works. Call it Share Warrior.
Share Warrior.
And here's why. Because there's a ton of bad junk on Facebook and social media. We want people to be like warriors for good and happy stuff. Okay, so it would be Share Warrior is somebody who shares our stuff a lot. And I got about, I don't know about you, Don, I got about 15 folks now that share everything that we put out, commercials and the show and all the goofy outtakes that we do. And that's what we hope for. We hope for you guys to see enough value in this that you share it all the time. Like anytime we put something out real estate related, that you share it. And Hannah does the same. So she shares it all the time too. So our Share Warrior of the show today is
Cathy Korte.
Cathy Korte, Share Warrior. Cathy, come on. Where's all my peeps at? Cathy.
Thank you, Cathy.
Where's all the pounds at? In the comments, give me some Cathys over and over and over again. Crazy, 100 Cathys in a row, one Cathy, whatever. Cathy's everywhere, all right? Cathy. All right, so Cathy Korte, you are the Share Warrior of the show. The rest of the folks, please share our stuff so that folks get the word out there that they can enjoy the stuff that we got. So there we go. All right, so topic number 2, Don.
Renting versus buying.
Renting versus buying, folks. Okay, this is going to go a little bit toward, the first one was historic, so we're going backward in time a little bit. Now we're going forward. I look at all these people, Cathy, I love it. I love it. That's my favorite part of the show. That's my favorite part. The Wilkowitzes are everywhere. Very cool. So we're talking about renting versus buying, okay? And I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think that buying, and I did a lot of research, and I do this a lot, and I deal with lots of millennials and lots of kids that graduate that I taught and that ask these questions. So let me walk you through why buying is better than renting, because there's a lot of disparity on the internet and that, but I dug into it a bunch to kind of give a better feel. So first reason is it's your own home. You can create your own dream home. All right. So when you own a home, you can do whatever the heck you want to it. You can change the carpet to wood floors. You can put the fancy door on like Mike McLaughlin is doing today at his house. You can do, paint the rooms bright pink for your daughter. You can do whatever you want. Build that backyard oasis that we tell you about. You can do all that stuff because it's yours. It belongs to you. Renting, I mean, sometimes you can get away with painting a little bit, but you got to paint it back to the white, right?
Right.
So you can't change a thing.
You can't change the flooring.
Right. So if that shower handle sucks, that's too bad. This is how it is.
Call the landlord.
Right. You can ask him and stuff, but
But if you own the house, you're the landlord.
You can do whatever you want. All right, you can do whatever you want in your own home. That's one.
You can put a wrench on it and use that instead of a hat.
I've done that before. If that surprises you, it should.
No, it doesn't. That's why I threw that out there, probably.
He's like, I know you did that first try. All right, so number 2 is stability. Okay, rents go up typically if you've been there for a bit. Landlords usually crank rents up on you. If you bounce around a lot, rents are going to change for different places you go to. Stability, if you get a mortgage, typically it's going to be a fixed rate mortgage, 30 years, so the payment's going to be the same all the time. So it's not going to be something that is all over the place. It's going to be that where it's every single month the same amount.
Well, it does vary a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, like taxes and stuff, sure.
Not a lot.
Not a lot
every year.
Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. So number 3, you're going to get the benefit of appreciation. So homes, especially in the market that we're in, if you bought a home, 5, 6, 7, even 8 years ago, and the appreciation that you've gotten to this point, I mean, people are making good money.
Yeah, it's yours. It's your appreciation, not a landlord's.
I think we talked about this last week. A buddy of mine, his secretary, bought a condo across from where Tiger Stadium is, with a new, what do you call it? New arena, what's it called?
Little Caesars.
Yeah, Little Caesars. Yeah, Little Caesars. She bought it for like $1.75 and sold it for like $5 or $6.
Yeah.
So that's a ridiculous number, right?
Yeah.
You don't get that if you rent. You rent, you're just giving the landlord money. That's all you're doing.
But that's an extremely outsized appreciation.
Yeah, I get
she
that.
bought it at the right time, in the right location.
Right,
so.
but appreciation still helps a lot of folks buy the next home.
Absolutely. Most people aren't doing it for the big payoff like that. That's a jackpot type of thing.
Yep.
Most of them, it's that slow appreciation, and you're paying your mortgage down every year, every month, every year, and that's where most people make their
And Don, would you agree that it's almost like a forced savings, almost to a point?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think it's so much you have to even think about it, just happening.
Yeah. So
I mean, you're living. You have to have a place to live.
Yeah, it's a way better investment than renting, right?
Yeah.
Number 4, the tax write-offs you get with a mortgage or with buying your own home. Mm-hmm. You can write off your mortgage interest, 1. Okay, you can write off part of your property taxes, 2, and sometimes you can write off part of your private mortgage insurance. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of write-offs you got. Okay. Also, you can write off things like if you sell the house, the improvements that you made on the house, you can write those off too. There's a ton of different write-offs that come with home ownership. Again, you're not getting that with a rental. Right. You're definitely not getting that. Okay. And then number 5, and this one's big for a lot of people. Okay. There's people like Stephanie Crockett that are probably watching tonight, and other folks that love their furry friends or their fur moms and fur dads that love their dogs and their pets, their cats. Right. Rentals. Sometimes there's a fee to have your dog or cat, right? Sometimes they won't let you have them at all, especially certain breeds of dogs and stuff, okay? Yeah. So you can have any dog you want, any furry friend you want, as long as you own your own home.
Right.
So again, home ownership way better than rental. Now, I wanted to kind of make it, break it down easier for folks to understand. So what I did, I'll show you what I got here for you. So I'm going to slide it for you just a little bit. So here's what I got for you. I'm going to hold it up like that. The little ring's making it a little tough to see there. So here's what you got. For a monthly rental of $1,250 in Dearborn, 48124. And I know it's backward, guys. I know because the camera's backward. I get that. I know. People are like, it's backwards, Scott. Oh my God, it's backward.
Right, we didn't think of that.
So for homes in 48124 for per if you pay $1,200, you'll get 1,332 square feet. Okay, for about $1,200 for buying. Okay, for rental for $1,250, the average is $1,112. Okay, so and that's with a $165,000 house in Dearborn. I'm going to try to post a link to the information. Right, so you can even see dollars and cents, apples to apples. $1,250 rental is not getting you the same house at $1,250 or the $1,200 buying is going to get you. Okay, and I know folks are going to complain, going, "Well, you make a down payment." Not if you use Mishta. Use like a conventional Mishta, then you're not making a down payment. So it's very similar money, okay? So I just wanted, again, to bring that information to light a little bit, that you get, even in just in Dearborn alone, you get extra 200 square feet if you buy for the same amount of money. So that's another thing as far as smarter to buy than to rent.
So when you send it out, should they have a mirror with them so that they can see the reverse image?
Folks, if you don't know, we turn the phones. Okay. Laugh it out. Go ahead.
That's hilarious.
So if you didn't know already, Billy Ferguson, good to see you, sir. If you didn't know that the phone screens are facing toward us, so everything's backward. We know the Century 21 letters are backward. We know that. Nothing we can do about it. So you just got to cross your eyes like that right there, and that's the best thing that we can
We're
do.
trying to figure something out about that. We're trying to get the office to do something, but we just...
Yeah, I mean,
seem to
there's
be
nothing we
reluctant
can
to
do
that,
about it.
So we're looking for some help out there.
Absolutely.
Anybody has any ideas? Please let us know.
So, Don, talking about photography and historical homes, do you have any stories from the road?
You know, so I have one about photography, as a matter of fact. So, I listed a house a little recently, and the pictures, I got the photographer sent me the pictures, and to the seller the pictures. And when I looked at them, I texted the sellers and said, "Wow, the pictures look great." And the wife texted me back and said, "Yeah, they're beautiful, but I'm concerned that the pictures look better than the house. And then people, when they come over and walk through the house, are going to be disappointed." And I kind of laughed, and I chuckled. I said, "Everything will be fine."
Did you tell them to go back and take shittier pictures? That's how. You gotta go take crappy pictures now, please.
No, so anyways, we had 12 offers and 35 showings in 3 days, so it sold real quick. It was a very nice house, and
that's pretty funny.
So, but
my house looks better than it's supposed to look.
So, you know, as human beings, we tend to be a little more critical with what we have and who we are and that sort of stuff, and that's kind of funny how sometimes that came out. And
yeah.
And it was all fine. Don't worry about it. But you know, it's just interesting that it looks much.
That's
nicer.
pretty good. Like the pictures are better than the house. That's
but
pretty
I got
good.
them in the door, so
Yeah, it's all matters.
35 people and it's sold.
Listen.
It's sold within 3 days.
We
so,
wanted Hannah on the first couple weeks, right? Because pictures are so important, and her work to us is so important.
Yeah.
So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other stories for the road? Anybody else?
I feel like I shared mine earlier.
All right. So Don,
End of the show.
end of the show.
Until next week.
I'm Scott.
I'm Don.
I'm Hannah.
We're talking real estate.